Dear Telecaster, you'd never tried to be anything you're not, and somehow you made that everything. In your quiet, stubborn ways, you taught us that simplicity isn't limitation. It's truth. Just two pickups, a slab of wood, a voice that could cut through any room, any doubt, any noise. You've been there through it all. Late nights, loud stages, empty rooms, and everything in between. You don't complain, you don't falter, you just answer every single time. There's a kind of honesty in you that's hard to find. No disguise, no softness, just clarity, character, and grit. And maybe that's why I keep coming back to you. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. Yours always.
Tell me about your first memory then of seeing someone play a Telecaster.
I think it was probably Albert Collins, I would say, when I got into blues after I watched, what's his name?
Albert Collins he had the thin line telly.
Yeah, he had the thin line telly. I think that was, or maybe I'd seen an album cover in my dad's collection of a record where I've seen Keith,
of course,
you know,
yeah,
something like that. But when it really caught me, it wasn't Albert Collins either, but there was a thing, because I remember him playing with the strap on, and he didn't have the strap on all the way, remember?
No, he used to have it over the other shoulder.
I just had one shoulder, and they were like, oh, I think I'm wearing it properly, you know. But it was definitely Prince, and actually, this exact guitar, I know it's not a Fender, but this was my first Telecaster that I ever bought. And I remember driving out, get it somewhere, and some guy just had it sitting in a...
We sold loads of those.
Yeah.
I've started at Andertons while that was still in the Hohner catalogue.
Yeah.
So,
When was that then?
Well, like
was it in
mid
80s,
to late 80s.
Yeah, I remember. I think I just had my driver's license.
Yeah.
I just moved to Copenhagen.
And Prince was huge, obviously, at the time.
Yeah.
You know, arguably at the peak of his whole powers, you know.
Yeah.
Playing that.
And he played that guitar always.
Yeah, although he didn't have that. His wasn't a Hohner one, was it? This
No,
was
it
like
was
a
a
Hohner
Mad Cat.
license. What was it?
Mad Cat.
Mad Cat.
Yeah, and they're still going Mad Cat. They're still going. You can still buy a Mad Cat, but the headstock is not the same anymore. So if you want an original Mad Cat from back in the day, they're quite expensive now. They're not as expensive at a custom shop though. But that was so. I remember seeing Prince play. My cousin Thomas, he's a drummer. He's got one of Europe's biggest Prince record collections.
Wow.
If not the biggest, I'm not quite sure now. And I just got into it, and I saw him play that guitar, and I just needed to have one. So, and I still have it, and I think I paid like 15 quid for it, or 50 quid, like something ridiculous, 25 quid. And it's got a maple flame top and everything, you know.
What about your first actual Fender Telecaster?
Well, that's actually, it wasn't until 2004 that I got a standard Telecaster when I came over here and started playing to take everybody's jobs.
Standard US Telecaster.
Standard USA, and Fender sent me a Strat and a Tele, the blue one, and a black Telecaster.
Right.
And that was my first sort of real Telecaster when I played Atomic Kitten. And I actually did use that quite a lot live on the Atomic Kitten and on the Girls Aloud stuff. And actually, I was saying to you earlier, I didn't play it with live a lot, but I actually did play it with Westlife and everything. So...
Yeah, what is it then?
I think, okay, I'm remembering now, I go way back to when I was in school. And I remember being in, 6th, 7th grade. And I remember we had a music room. I went to a tiny little school, little private sort of hippie school, where there was only 50 students in all the years, in all the classes. But over in Denmark, there's a year before you start in first class, right? Class grade or class 1 or whatever you call it, and then it goes up to 10. And you go to the same school all of that time. And I remember there was one guitar there, which was an Ibanez. I'm messing this up, Lee, as I'm talking too much.
I'm just thinking, I'm waiting for the comments section to go, how are you two restringing your guitars? But, you know, this is how I do it.
So, so I remember there was a cream Ibanez with the spaghetti logo. And when I first started playing, that guitar I played all the time.
And that was a Tele style guitar?
It was a Ibanez copy of a Telecaster. And I remember that guitar, and I remember the music teacher going, because I would play, we had a Leslie, I had a real Leslie, so I would play through a Leslie.
Wow, in a kid's school?
In a kid's school. We had Leslie, and we had the old those Boss cubes, we had those. Yeah. And I was playing it through that. And I was always playing on the neck pickup. And I was always like, oh, you're gonna be a jazz player one day. But I was playing with that really fat sound, and I really loved the neck pickup on it. So that was my first sort of thing. But I must have been like 12, 13 or something like that. And then this was my first Telecaster, and then I got this, and then this was my first like proper custom shop. And then I've got other Telecasters now, but I always gravitate back to that, you know, to the Telecaster.
So what did it?
Can I borrow the clippers?
Yeah, I mean it's the 75th. 2026 is the 75th anniversary of the Tele. So it's older than.
Congratulations.
It's older than both of us combined, Pete.
Is it?
No.
Yes, it is. No.
And it's largely hailed as the kind of the first ever sort of, you know, mass-produced electric guitar. Although I suspect mass production back in 1951 was a little different to what we call mass production now. What is it about it that's just,
I think,
been so enduring?
I see the Telecaster as a Les Paul. I know a lot of people, what are you talking about? It's a single cut, 2 pickup guitar that essentially is super easy to
Thank you.
To play. You know, 3 positions. I know on the Les Paul you've got all of these different, you can use the tone controls and stuff. The Telecaster is even simpler than that, and it's a bolt on it. But I still, when you got a PAF style, really good humbucker in a good Les Paul, it's very similar, in my opinion. But it's not the same, but it's very similar.
But there's no sense that
I don't know,
Leo was copying Gibson because this came out, you know, 3 years, 4 years before.
Did it though? Do we really know? Do we really know the history of it all?
Well, oh man, now you've got me. 54 was the Les Paul, right? Or was that the Strat? Was 52 the Les Paul? I should know.
The Telecaster is before.
Tele is the older one, right?
But I'm just wondering. Sorry about the noise. Because we don't really know whether there was a Gibson or kind of thing before then that led to be the Gibson, you know.
Well, the Gibson Guitar Company is older, but obviously that goes back to making acoustic guitars and flat top sort of jazz guitars and stuff. Whereas I think I'm just rambling here because there must be enough history to it. Well, I can see the comment section going. If you look at what Les Paul was trying to do with his guitar, or at least so Les Paul would claim, and I think Ted McCarthy has a slightly different version of events, but you know, he was basically playing acoustic guitar on a hamburger stand, he said, and obviously he would get the louder he could make his guitars. So one day I think he put a little microphone on it, like a transducer microphone, and wired it into a radio, and he noticed he got more tips because obviously more people could hear it. So then he started messing around with planks of wood and magnets and wires and stuff. So, but it's not. I mean, this is lovely as a Telecaster, but it's more the history of it. So, but I think what you were saying though was actually I spent my first probably 15, 20 years as a guitar player. I was maybe just about to ask, what was your first Telecaster? Well, but thinking that a Telecaster was just a Strat with one less pickup. Really? Kind of. Like, you know, in my head, I was like, well, yeah, it's got one less pickup and it hasn't got a trem system. You know, in my head, I just thought like the Telecaster, I sort of thought the evolution was, the Strat was just the next model, like the better model, the upgraded version of the Telecaster. And
but that's kind of what it was, wasn't it?
I'm not so sure. I mean, it's only really been in maybe the last 10 years that I've really appreciated just how different a Telecaster is in its own right.
Yeah. And a Telecaster can be more Strat than a Strat can be a Telecaster. Does that make sense?
Well, and I think a Telecaster can be more Les Paul than a Strat can
exactly,
be.
But that's what I mean. It's both a single cutaway, and there's something to do with the way that with the single cut, in my opinion, that the guitar also makes me feel when I put it on. You know, because my guitar, the second one, was a 1976 Les Paul that I got. So you can keep that now. I'm all done. And I would still just look at Prince and Albert Collins and go, there's something there about in the sound and the tone of this that is just immense. You know,
I've only ever owned thin line Telecasters.
Have you?
I've got 2 Telecasters. One, which is an American from the 90s, and it's black with white binding, so not dissimilar to this.
You got a Squier as well, haven't you?
I don't think I've got a Squier Tele.
Yeah, you had the one with the pickup. Is that not a...
Oh, you're right. But
that's
3.
a thin line.
Is that wow?
That's a thin line, isn't it?
So I've got a Type, haven't I? I've definitely got a Type. You're right. I've got 3 Teles if you include the Squier, and they're all thin lines, and they're all black. Or this one isn't. This one's more of a browny kind of black colour.
Yeah, it's a good colour.
And they've all got binding. Isn't that weird? But I don't know that I ever really had like consciously had like a hero Tele player. So Jimmy Page would probably have been my...
But there you go, Jimmy Page as well. People forget Jimmy. They look at Jimmy Page and they think, he played a Gibson all the time. He didn't. It was all those riffs are played on the back pickup of a Telecaster into a Marshall. There's nothing as mighty.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that for years and years after loving Led Zeppelin. And I just assumed it was all on a Les Paul. And it is only when you sort of get into the folklore of people saying, yes, but did you realise that on the albums it was all, Telecaster? And it's
a much more consistent and stable guitar than any other guitar, the Telecaster. If you want a guitar that you can travel around the world with, and you can take out and just play it in any environment, in any climate, in anywhere, it's just, you can't beat it, man. You know what I mean? It's such a simple construction that it's just nailed it the first time.
And that's the bit that I...
Just nailed it.
That's the bit that I don't really understand with that period in the 50s of the electric guitar. It's in any other walk of life, in any other tool that we use day to day, they've all been improved over the last...
Just look at an iPhone. You buy a new one every single year just because it's got a better camera, or Samsung, whatever it is, S25, S26, and it just keeps going. Telecaster, still the same for 75 years.
Yeah.
And we talk about how almost difficult would it be to sell something other than guitars that are 75 years old now, these days.
Yeah, it'd be impossible.
Can you imagine selling a 75-year-old car?
I mean, maybe there's some argument that maybe there's like watches and things are nice, but whether they're better or not. Have you got the winder? I can't be bothered to hand wind.
I got the long and winding
I've been doing it just because it's less noisy.
I gave you a winder over there.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. I mean, your brain is like a 75,
I am the living embodiment of a Telecaster. I'm old, but
but reliable.
Yeah.
In any environment.
Yeah, I don't know that I really had a player, and that's probably why I've got more Strats than...
Yeah, because
I think you are influenced heavily by the players that you love, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say, for me, I see it as that sort of rock and roll. Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Definitely Keith Richards.
Yeah.
Who else would be? I mean, I think I used to probably associate it a lot more with country, and I was never a big sort of country fan, so maybe that put me off a little bit.
But see, I never really, I know there's so many country players that have played these, but it didn't get, because my parents' record collection was never country.
Right.
So I never really saw it. I wasn't out playing country songs in the pubs. I was out playing blues stuff. So And I think when I started the music thing, and Robin Ford became, you know, Talk to Your Daughter, that I know he had a Fender, he had his own Robin Ford signature, do you remember that one?
But definitely,
but he was a Telecaster guy as well, and there's something in the sound and the feel that is just, in my opinion, once you get it, you know, once you get the Telecaster thing, where you could do the, you know, you see how Greg Cochran can use just these two. It's so simple, but once you know how to use it, it's really difficult to beat it, man.
Did you ever listen to he's passed away a long time ago now, but did you ever listen to Danny Gatton?
Yeah. That was another, because I remember Danny Gatton as well, you know, and I remember kind of that kind of influence, those kind of people. But when you go to School of Music, you know, it becomes a lot about jazz. It was a lot about jazz, and there's not a lot of jazz players, as far as I'm aware, that would play Telecasters, you know.
No, you're right. I mean, Robin Ford's pretty jazzy, isn't he? But
yeah, but it's not jazzy.
No.
Not like bebop jazz, like my teacher was. I had a bebop teacher, which just completely didn't sink in at all, any of that, you know. But that was just. But I mean, there is just. There's just it's really difficult to explain. I mean, that's why when we did the Dane, that it was, that you can do, that with the Telecaster, I felt like you could do all of the stuff, but a Strat couldn't do, it still sounded good with a Strat, but with a Telecaster, this... There's all of these sounds in the guitar.
That's the misconception. Well, that was my misconception growing up, was that, you know, that was really just a pickup out of a Strat. And that was kind of a pickup out of a Strat, but with a metal cover over it. And you do realise that actually they're very different beasts, both visually as well as... Yeah, I mean, they're more like Strat pickups in there.
Yeah.
But I think what you don't realise... I still think now, even with Telecasters that have got multiple, you know, like ways of doing the series thing and the humbug, I still think if you want the most rock and roll sound on a Telecaster, you just go straight to the bridge pickup. Yeah. That's the sound.
And then if you want the most controlled sound, you know, it's just the neck pickup. You can do all of those. You can do all of those. And it's great for a bit of funk in the middle of this. I feel like I can do everything with a Telecaster, but it's taken me a long time to get to that point, because I was a Strat player for a long time. Yeah. And I felt like, oh, the Strat's great, but every time I went to the back pickup, I was like, nah.
Yeah, I think that's why I lean towards more an HSS Strat, because I just want a bit more. But you don't. The Telecaster's got it.
Yeah, the Telecaster's got that bridge pickup. That just... And then same gain on. Just,
and again,
it's difficult to explain.
If you're a professional musician and you just need the tool that you could, you know, I think when Leo was originally designing this, it's like, it's about the most stable guitar that you can buy from a tuning perspective, because there's no tremolo system. It's got that slightly longer scale length than a Les Paul. Yeah. The strings go through the nut without
and it goes through here.
Yeah, so it's rock solid tuning wise. It's got there's only 2 knobs and a switch, so again, unlike, it's got less stuff than any other guitar from that point of view.
The locking, as I call the best locking tuners ever invented, because the string goes in and that's locked. It's not going to go anywhere, is it?
It doesn't. It is quicker.
It's not locking like that.
I know what you mean,
but it is. It works, man.
I enjoy restringing these more than any other guitar, because you just poke the string in there and wind it around. It is easy. But and again, even to the point where Leo would have gone, if you break the neck, I want you to be able to just screw another one on, which you absolutely can as well. So it's just such.
I've ever travelled with one. I mean, that's one thing that can be improved on some of it. Where you, for instance, I know that some people take the back plate off, and they're in the neck. They'll put these little rivets or whatever. So when you can screw it back in and out without to keep destroying the wood in the neck, for instance, like you do with when this comes off and you're like, fuck, I have to. So you can actually take the neck off a Telecaster, put it in your locket, and then put it back together when you get to the point B. It's amazing. You can do that with a Strat as well, but.
I love, honestly, just
listen to the ring
I can feel like so much vibration coming through. Well, look, I expect Pete and I will jam out. Yeah. But that was our little kind of trip down Telecaster memory lane.
What do you think? Comment in the comment section. Right?
Yeah, this is kind of the Fender have released 4 or 5 Telecasters for the 75th anniversary.
There's a lot.
This is the sort of the nod to the OG. So this is the road-worn one based on the 51 Telecaster. We never even talked about the No-Caster story, did we? But we've probably done that in other videos.
And the name and everything.
But look, check out check out a Telecaster.
Videos up here.
It's just a wonderful, wonderful guitar. Well done, Fender, for keeping the flame alive for 75 years.
Hats off.
Yes, and if you like this kind of approach to talking about guitar in a relaxed format, comment below. Maybe we'll do the same for Strats and Les Pauls and other famous guitar brands.
This is in tune already as well. Listen to that ring, man.
Let's put loads of pedals on so that the audience can't hear what the guitar sounds like and jam out.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
10 to 46 early balls.